Okay, we're going to have a look at fitting eyelets or grommets using hand tools. Now, I know there was a post the other day on the Sewing in the UK bag makers page asking about this. So I've hunted out my hand tools and I'm going to show you how we do it. So my hand tools I have two pieces for the actual fitting of the grommet. I have the base plate and the spreader, and also it came with one of these, which is a cutting implement. However, I've never found that particularly useful. It's not particularly sharp, so again I use my little leather cutters to cut the hole. Now I've already cut the holes because you want minimal banging with this, because this does make the things jump off the table. So I'm going to take my setter and I'm going to put it on my board, and I always do it on a separate board, not on my chopping mat, on my cutting mat even. It's on a chopping board, not my cutting mat. Take the two pieces of your grommet or eyelet, and you can see I've got the one that's got the stem on it and then the washer. And I'll pop my eyelet through the hole that I've made, and that hole should fit snugly. There shouldn't be masses of movement around it. Should fit nice and snugly. Now normally if I were making a bag, I'd have interfacing, perhaps foam, and if I were doing faux leather, because faux leather is stretchy, oh, lost it. Because faux leather is stretchy and can pull out, I would always add just a circle of Decaville or even a little bit of Peltex around the holes, just to make sure that they don't stretch out of shape. If I'm using fabric, I'd do the same, but I would also put a little bit of fray check around the outside of those cuts, just to make sure. I'm not going to add anything extra in here because I'm not doing this for real. As you can see, this is not a bag. So push the main part of the grommet through the hole that you've created, and then layer onto your base part. Take the washer, and this washer is slightly concave. Some of them are much flatter than this, but this particular design are concave. These are cheap and cheerful. These actually came with my grommet, with my rivet press, so I've had them for years. I don't use them very often because they're a bit cheap and cheerful, but they're great for sort of teaching. So pop the washer on so that it's concave side down. Take your spreader, and you can see what's going to happen is that as you push this down, the lip on the spreader is going to hopefully push out the spread, the sort of the stem of the grommet. Now I'm going to hit this, and hopefully the table doesn't collapse and the light and the phone doesn't disappear, but it will be loud, so beware. And there we have it. That's the back, which looks fine, and there's the front. If you don't feel tempted to really go hell for leather, you can kind of go back in. If you don't feel like it's fitted fully, you can go back in and give it an extra little tap if you need to. Sometimes I find that if I don't hit it fully centrally on the top, that one side doesn't feel quite as rolled in as the other, but what you end up with is a really nice smooth surface. Now I'm just going to try something, because I think this may be something that people perhaps do wrong. I don't know if it's possible to set these the other way around. I know on my rivet set machine, I put the washer on the bottom, so I'm going to try and do it that way. You can see how easy that was to make the hole. Much easier than messing around with all sorts of things. No, that's never ever going to work, because there isn't a shaped part, so you have to do it with the main part on the bottom, adding the washer to the top, then your spreader tool. You must make sure that your spreader tool is 90 degrees to the base. sure you've hit it all round. Boom, and there we go. Grommets beautifully fitted, and say there's no sharp bits on the back. They don't look as pretty as the ones that you screw in. They've got a sort of a rolled edge, whereas the back of the screw-in ones look really pretty and they've just got 2 little screw holes. But for a bag, I mean, it's fine. It's fine if you're going to run a cord through it. If you're making a bucket bag style with a drawstring, it works really well. They're really easy to use, and even with hand tools. It just takes a bit of practice, and ideally you want to interface everything. Now, if I give that a pull, I'm going to really pull it and see if I can pull it out. You can see this is not interfaced. And look, I don't know if you can see that, but I can actually pull up. I can actually pull the faux leather away if I pull it really hard. I mean, that does take a bit of doing, but I actually probably, if I really pull, I can actually pull the back leather out, which is why we need to interface. It needs to be interfaced to remove the stretch, to make it really stable. So there you go. That's eyelets, grommets, whatever you want to call them, done with hand tools. So I showed you with the rivet press, and these are the hand tools. And so some hand tools will come with a cutting blade, and some will come just as the top and the bottom. These are size specific. I think this is 12mm. Well, this is 12mm because the grommets are 12mm. I have set 13mm ones on these, but you can't do smaller. So, you know, you need to have the right tool for the right size. So there you go.